is that he's just really happy to see new faces. I think that he's going to play a very crucial role in the war to come. Personally, I don't blame him because, hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, Astrid Cameo, where we talk about all things Transformers. And in today's video, we're going to be continuing our little character analysis series from the movie Transformers 1, and we're going to be doing a deep dive into b-127. He probably has to be a character that is a hit or miss with the Transformers fans. I could be wrong, but that's just what I've personally seen. I really want to, with this video, kind of give my perspective on why I feel like B in this movie was really done right with how he was portrayed, because I know a lot of people did not really like how he was portrayed, especially with a lot of the humor. But I think there's reasons for that, and we're going to dive into that in this video. And also, I'd like to thank all of you guys for 1,000 subscribers. That is really incredible. I did not expect this channel to kind of take off that fast, but it's all thanks to you guys. And as a thank you and also a Merry Christmas, I am hosting a giveaway on my Instagram. You can go check it out. My Instagram is also Astrid Cameo, so I'll leave the link in the description. I'm going to be giving away 2 YOLO Park figures, the Generation 1 Optimus Prime and Megatron AMK Pro Series model kits. So if you are interested in entering, you can go check out my Instagram. Again, I'll link it in the description below. The giveaway is worldwide, so anywhere you can join and enter. Again, thank you so much for all your support, and let's get right into the video. We all know how B is portrayed in most of the Transformers movies and shows. He is a very energetic, upbeat person. He is quite immature in most of the shows and movies. He's kind of portrayed as like the kid of the Autobots. Sometimes people like to kind of say that he's like Optimus Prime's son, which I think is like really cute, and it makes sense because I think Optimus does see B as kind of like a son, and B sees Optimus as kind of like a father figure. Again, in this movie, we see him as how he's normally kind of portrayed throughout most of the Transformers media, more mature and like carefree compared to Orion Pax, who is the younger version of Optimus Prime. Also very edgy. He's not just kind of funny and has that sense of humor because that's who he is. I feel like he became that way because of his circumstances. But of course, other than him having that kind of really prevalent sense of humor that just comes out like any time, even if the time sometimes doesn't call for it, he is very brave. He's very courageous. I think because of, again, his circumstances, which we'll go into in a bit, I don't think he actually is afraid of a lot of things. I think he could be one of the bravest characters in the movie. For example, we can see that in that scene when Sentinel Prime had all the High Guards lined up in his grand hall or whatever it was, like kneeling before him, and there was B and D16. He wasn't afraid to like speak up to Sentinel. I don't know, again, because of his circumstances and the fact that he was isolated from the world for so long, he doesn't really know much, I feel like, about the world and how it is. So because of that, he doesn't really have a lot of fear. That's kind of my take. That's why I kind of feel like he can be very funny and have a really good like sense of humor when the time calls for it, but he can also be brave and serious again when another time calls for it. That part about B in this movie is that the fact that he's been in waste management for pretty much his entire life, of course you're going to be lonely, and I feel like the way that B copes with that is through his sense of humor. So I know a lot of people have said that his sense of humor is too much. He's really like over the top with the way that he tells jokes. He makes a joke out of everything. But really, personally, I don't blame him, because if you were isolated for your entire life with zero social connection, you're bound to, I feel like, either go insane or cope with it in some other way. And B didn't go insane. He found some sort of way to cope with the isolation that he dealt with his entire life. And the way that he coped with it, well, one, he had all his kind of makeshift friends down in waste management. But other than that, especially once he saw like Orion, D16, Alita, other people, he never got the chance to really express who he really is. And I guess that's his funny and carefree self. Because honestly, if you never see people before and you finally see them for the first time, I feel like you'd be excited. And that's why I feel like sometimes to some people he can be seen as kind of over the top, and I think he's just kind of excited. He's just really happy to see new faces, to see actual people and not just makeshift people that he made because he was lonely or isolated, even though he doesn't realize that himself. He doesn't know pretty much what's going on up above in Iacon. He hasn't seen anyone. He's just, the only thing he knows is to collect waste. Growing up, if you don't have any sense of the world around you, if you don't have any knowledge of what's going on, I would venture to say you won't really develop properly. And that's not to say that B isn't like fully developed or anything, nothing like that. But what I'm trying to say is that he has the opportunity to harness the fact that he probably doesn't know what fear feels like. If he was a minor and he lived kind of under Sentinel, under the hierarchy and the higher power, he would probably have this feeling of like wanting to stay small, wanting to follow the rules, you know, that kind of thing. And I just think naturally B is an extrovert. I don't see him as an introvert at all. So I feel like growing up that must have been really hard for him. Everyone, when they meet B for the first time, they're kind of like, whoa, you're kind of like a bit extra, like, because again, that's just who he is. And if he had the opportunity to share that with other people while he was growing up, you know, while he was developing, I don't think maybe he would be seen as kind of coming over the top to most people. But because again, he didn't have that. Now he has that, and it's kind of like all of a sudden, so he's going to project all of that excitement that he had built up in him for so long. He's going to project it all at once. I think it's very important to have a character like B in especially a story like this, because again, if we do get a sequel, don't know if that's ever going to happen, but if we do, the story is going to get very dark. I think it is important that in those kinds of stories, there is the opportunity for the audience to still kind of see some light, and I think B can provide that. Throughout most of the, or at least throughout a lot of the Transformers movies, B has kind of been that comedic relief that the audience or the story needs in order to balance out the darkness and kind of the heaviness of the story that Transformers tells. And I know a lot of other characters can do that as well and have been used in that sense. When people say that he's kind of overdone in that sense, I understand why people say that. I know some people think that B is like overused, but also I think in Transformers 1, we get to see why B has this kind of comedic personality, and because of that, I think it's good for them to keep B as kind of the side kind of character next to Optimus. I think Optimus is going to become a really, you know, stoic, serious leader, and like I said before, you need that kind of comedy and humor to balance the story out. But I think there is a need, again, for a kind of pure spark in this new era of war. For one, it would be good to have different viewpoints and opinions, especially in the war. You can't have everyone who has lived kind of the same life give the same opinions and the same advice. So having B there and with his backstory, I think is a really good, valuable asset to the Autobots. You know, I think there's so much potential there because they set up his story really well. They gave him a good backstory. They allowed him to grow throughout this first movie into becoming Optimus Prime's, you know, or one of Optimus Prime's closest friends. He has always kind of been like Optimus's closest, or one of Optimus's closest allies in a lot of the Transformers media. But again, because the story kind of shows how they grew together, how they met, I think it's going to be a lot more meaningful in the long run. I think this B has a lot of potential for further growth. When the war happens, he is going to experience a lot of shock, I think. Maybe even a bit more than what the regular Autobots are going to feel. Because again, how he grew up, his circumstances, he might even be like surprised that the world could be as dark as how it's going to be during the war. I could maybe guess that B, when he was in waste management, probably thought that that was the like worst kind of living environment anyone could ever experience. But then who knows, when the war happens, he might just feel like, well, maybe waste management was much better than this. He might even feel disappointed in how the world's turned out. Who knows? My point is, from being immature to possibly being a future leader, I don't think that his kind of comedic personality has been overdone in this movie. I don't think that at all. I think there's a reason, a good reason why he is like that, and the writers showed why he's like that. I think that he's going to play a very, very crucial role in the war to come. I think that he could grow to become Optimus's closest ally. He's definitely already Optimus's closest friend, so we're not far from closest ally or possibly like second or third in command. Just to sum up this video, Badassatron is so very valid. Anyways guys, that was pretty much it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this character analysis. Some more Transformers 1 characters are coming in the future, and afterwards I am going to be switching to possibly Transformers Prime character analysis. So that's possibly coming up in the future, as well as more casual videos, toy hunts, vlogs, unboxings, Q&As. So be sure to stay tuned on my channel. I'll leave all my links in the description for you guys to check out. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all in my next video.